Welcome to the Unofficial Steelers Podcast, the podcast so unofficial it doesn't have a home. Here's your host, from In Hindsight, Nathan Heintz. From Steelers Nation Australia, Mark Davison. And from State of the Steelers, Daniel J. Here we go.
What is up, Steeler fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Unofficial Steelers Podcast. I'm Daniel J. Alongside with me is Nathan Heintz. Nathan, how's it going, my man? How you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. Got off at 4:30 today, and God, dude, it felt like today freaking dragged. But got off 4:30, and then had to do a couple things once I got home, and then here we are. So we're feeling all right, man. We're feeling all right today. Excited to do the show.
Awesome, man. That's great, dude. I'm glad you were able to get off work and make it home safely.
Yeah, man.
Safety first and then teamwork. That's how the saying goes, ain't it?
Yep.
So the Pittsburgh Steelers are coming off of a 27-17 victory, preseason game, first action of the year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a familiar foe, Baker Mayfield. Did you get a chance to watch the game, Nathan?
Oh yeah, I watched it. I watched the whole game. I was very excited to watch it. And I don't care that it's preseason. I don't care. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that are like, it's preseason, don't really care. I care. And I know you care, and I'm sure most people in the chat care because you want to see, of course, everyone kind of get their feet wet, gel. You want to see guys have some positive play. But there's other things to look at too, of course. Position battles, guys trying to make the cut, some rookies, stuff like that. So there's still things to look at. But I was excited to watch it, and I'm going to be quite honest. I really don't think there's too much negative to come out of it.
Oh, I think there's a little bit of negative that came out of this game. First and foremost, the once, people were starting to talk about, there was rumblings of a gold jacket for fullback Kendrick Green. I think that those expectations have died down after this game. He didn't have such a great game this week, but we'll get into Kendrick Green a little bit later. So who were some of the players that you were looking forward to going into the game, and did they end up meeting your expectation of what you thought you would see?
Well, I was definitely just excited to see some of the first team offense. I knew they weren't going to play too much, which is fine. I was just excited to see what they were going to do for a series or two. Some of the Broderick Jones stuff at left tackle, maybe seeing some of the new linebackers. I was kind of excited to see. A little bummed Joey Porter didn't play, but I understand why. But man, it was really nice to see the first team offense have one drive and really click on everything. Seemed like really everybody got a touch of the ball. Kenny was very sharp. Already saw what him and Pickens have been working on, and we obviously hope to see a lot of that this season. And I think really when we can look at the end of the day, when it comes down to the offense, we know the issues the offense had last year, and we know it's preseason, so we take it with a grain of salt, of course. But dude, it was just a breath of fresh air being able to see them score on a first drive. I don't care if it's preseason or not. They didn't really do that all last year.
Right.
And yeah, there he is. So that sounds about right. Welcome to the show, Z. Welcome to the show. You'll be on the show at some point. But it was just still was refreshing, the fact they were able just to move the ball the first drive, be able to do something out of that. And Kenny looked just really, really good in the pocket. And I think too, just from his camp alone, when we look at this year to last year, of course, there's some different factors in play. But just really a big difference. And that's what you want to see from your first team offense too. Just really the first drive, get in, get out, do what you got to do. We saw what we had to see. Quan Alexander was really fun to watch for a little bit while he was in the game. Keanu Benton had some good plays in the game. So there's some there's some things to dissect, some players to dissect, but I was really looking at some of that stuff, man. But I was pretty pleased with those things I was looking for.
100%, my man. 100%. You know, talking about the big, the position that everybody was looking at, quarterback. Kenny Pickett going 6 for 7 and got a touchdown. Touchdown was over 30 yards, I believe, to George Pickens. It was a 10-play, 83-yard drive, stamped with a pass over the middle. Also, these were all things that we didn't see last season. On this drive, we saw play action. We saw, passes over the middle to both Pat Freiermuth and to George Pickens for the touchdown that was over 30 yards. The Kenny Pickett and the offense come out and shotgun and throw the ball in the first 3 possessions.
Yeah.
These were things that were not expected to see.
Right.
And, I for one was very much impressed by the showing. It gave me a lot of optimism for what's to come. And I also thought that the offensive line did amazing. There's a specific play in specifically where Kenny Pickett, the dump off pass to Najee Harris, there was a blitz coming in, and Isaac Seumalo, like he jumps off of his guy and is able to pick up the blitz guy at the last moment. And Kenny Pickett ends up throwing the ball a little bit too quick. He holds the ball a little, just half a second longer, and tosses it to Deontay. It's not going to go for a touchdown or anything like that, but it's definitely not going to be a loss. And so, but in that play, I saw Isaac Seumalo, get off of his blocker and able to get to the blitzing inside linebacker very quickly. And he talks about his reaction and his smarts. And I'm excited about this offensive line. I saw Broderick Jones, they played him all, majority of the game. I thought he did okay. He's a rookie and he did some rookie things. At the towards the end of the game, it seemed like, or while his time was out there, maybe the humidity was kind of getting towards him. Some of his defenders were they weren't getting home, but they were pushing him back. And, if you're going up against in that situation at that late in the game, in regular season, you're not going up against somebody that's probably bagging groceries next week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you got to be able to keep it up for the entire game. And, I saw that Kenny Green was just going to get somebody hurt.
Well, when Green came off the field after that, dude, Tomlin didn't look too happy.
Right.
Yeah. Kendrick Green, I think we all know, is probably a failed experiment on the offensive line. If they want to utilize him in a fullback position, then freaking keep him in that. Get him off the offensive line then.
Well, I don't think there's a position for him solely as a fullback. I think that was going to be an addition to whatever he brought as a backup interior offensive lineman. And
I don't see him making the team, man, as an offensive lineman, though.
I don't either. So I think that we're not going to be able to see this gimmick. We're not going to see it. I don't think we're going to see it. It's a gimmick to me right now, man, because
it kind of is.
I don't think we're going to see it.
We might not. I was surprised they didn't even do anything about it in the first game.
Well, why would they? I mean, they're like, well, we're not going to have this too, as an option because this guy's not going to make the team unless they try to, stash him on the practice squad and bring him in for, move him up a couple of games.
But like the first preseason game, if they were doing that during practice and stuff like that, I was just surprised they didn't do that in the first game.
Yeah, I agree. They even did this during Friday Night Lights. I think he even caught a pass, things like that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they were so disappointed in what he did as an offensive lineman. They were like, we don't even want to showcase this.
Yeah. No, it's too bad. It's a shame. It's not personal, man. It's just like I'm sure that he's a cool dude and everything like that. It's just like you got to perform at the level, man. That's the nature of the game. It's the nature of the league, and it's never a personal thing, really. It's just the way it is, man. You got to be able to produce. You got to be able to do your job.
Yeah, I just seen this YouTube show where they were talking to Kendrick, and they were talking about his Madden rating. And they're like, Madden has you like at a 64. And he's like, what do you think about that? And he goes, yeah, I understand it, but they're way wrong. And I was like, maybe they were.
I
They
mean,
should have
dude,
been
64 is some of the lowest you're probably going to get.
Yeah, it is. And he was like, I understand why they have me there, but I'm going to prove to them that it's wrong. And like all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, that just didn't age well. Because I think it came out like a couple of days before the preseason game.
Well, I don't know. We might maybe see him make a move for a backup center or something if they don't like anybody on the team to be able to play that role.
Well, I mean, Nate Herbig played after him. He played some center there. I liked what I saw. Kendrick Green wasn't just bad at protecting. He also had a couple of bad snaps.
Yeah, he did.
And so, for me, Nate Herbig, I think he played a little bit better. He had a shoulder injury. I don't know how serious.
That's what I mean. Like if he's out for however long, they maybe they'll make a signing or something for some low end guy. I don't know.
Yeah, there's that possibility.
Aquatic. What was Coward talking about, man? What was Coward talking about? As in him talking crap about the Steelers.
Yeah, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know that JT Sullivan had some choice words for Matt Canada. Did you hear? Did you see or hear that?
Who's that?
He's the quarterback room guy.
JT Sullivan.
Yeah, he used to be a backup quarterback for.
I've never heard of him.
A couple of teams.
Well, there's your answer.
Yeah, I think he's
JT.
Yeah, he was a backup quarterback for like the 49ers, I want to say.
Yeah, whoever that is. And I know a lot of players in the NFL, like even over the years. Like I remember a lot of guys, but JT Sullivan is somebody I do not recall.
Oh, it's the QB school. My bad. Oh, let me see. I'll show you what it looks like. So it's this guy, and
looks about right.
Yeah, he was breaking down.
Yeah, looks like a knockoff version of Dan Orlovsky. That's who he looks like.
Yeah, he was saying that Matt Canada's play calls were unimaginative, and that I don't know. I guess he was expecting something less vanilla out of preseason.
You know what's funny though is Canada said that what they did Friday on offense is nothing they did, like nothing different they did last year. I think that's a freaking lie.
I mean, perhaps maybe the concepts were the same, but the play calls and the timing of the play calls when they were coming in.
I think just that first drive alone, dude, we didn't see last year.
Right. Well, maybe, but I think that the focal point was different last year. I think the focal point was shorter throws.
Yeah.
Right. So they may have had the same play, but instead of looking at George Pickens 15 yards down the field, the play was focused at looking at Deontay Johnson or Najee Harris out in the flat.
Right.
And, I think that may have been the difference is now, all right, we want to let these plays develop a little bit more. We have an offensive line that we feel is going to be able to protect you. Let's get this ball down the field a little bit. And then you also have, in my opinion, one, there's no pressure there. It's preseason. If you lose the game, who cares, right? So you have no pressure. You can go out there and throw the ball over and over again and get the kinks out or whatever the case may be. And so there's that aspect of it. But, there's more to just the plays themselves. There's when you call them, the frequency and when you call them, how often, and the predictability and where you're going. And I think that's where it was different. It may have been the same plays, but nobody expected those plays at that time.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there were anything spectacular. I mean, we didn't see, something crazy. We did see a little bit of motion. We did see at certain points where, they'll have a Calvin Austin is, in motion, and it looks like it's a fake jet sweep,
right. And
then it's a handoff or play action. So there is a lot more, in my opinion, like differences. But yeah, I did hear what he said, that it was the same playbook. I don't think that's the case. But even if it was, this is preseason. You're not going to put out everything. It's going to be vanilla, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the guy's full of crap. And hey, if he can implement some new stuff, all for it. I've said before, it doesn't need to copy and paste what other teams are doing, but you got to adapt into your own way, into your own playbook, what successful offenses in today's league are doing.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
So I'm not, you're not going to copy the Eagles playbook or anything like that, but you're going to sit down, you're going to look at what did not work last year, and you're going to replace that with some things that you're going to do for the first time this season. So, obviously we hope the guy takes a leap forward. If he doesn't, well, then goodbye.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's as simple as that. It really is. Brought up past playoff losses, last win against Kansas City in the playoffs. Just trying to provoke Steelers fans. Well, I mean, that's what Colin, freaking some of these other stupid sport analysts want to do. They just want their ratings. Colin last week had the weirdest and oddest segment I have ever seen. And I'm not somebody that just always says I've ever seen in my life and uses that to death. He had the oddest segment I've ever seen on a sports show last week. A list of every quarterback that will never win a Super Bowl. And he had Dwayne Haskins.
Oh, yeah.
And he had Blake Bortles on that list. And he had freaking quarterbacks that aren't even in the league anymore on that list.
Did he have Dan Marino?
What is this segment, dude? What is this segment?
Yeah.
Like, he's just an odd guy. Like, I don't think he's as bad as maybe some people think. Like, there's some times I actually do watch his show, but he's just odd. He's just odd with some stuff he does on his show, even just in general in the public. Like, he's just a weird guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. 100%.
He's just a very weird guy. Like he'll judge quarterbacks based off what hats they wear and freaking what they do in their off time. Like, it's just bizarre. It's just very bizarre. Yeah.
So I think this is the play that I was talking about earlier. Keep your eye on Sam Ollie. He's the left guard here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna actually play it slow. Let's go with 75%. All right. And so got in motion. You see, he takes his guy here.
Right.
He's got the defensive tackle. You see the blitzing inside linebacker. Look at how he's able to push him off and then get this guy who's blitzing in full. Like that was a sack or a quarterback hit last season. This guy is going in full, going in for the quarterback,
right.
And he's able to get off.
Right.
And that right there is what I like to see out of the interior offensive line. I mean,
well, that's something that Kevin Dotson's not going to provide for you.
No, he's not.
And it's just how it is. Again, it's not personal. It's like whenever that there's just critique like this, it's never a personal thing. It's just the reality. They had to upgrade. They had to get better because it's not cutting it. 3 years of Kevin Dotson's not cutting it.
Yeah, no, it really isn't. And, just seeing what Sam Ollie can do in the inside, I mean, I'm excited about this offensive line because I think James Daniels, he was he's young too. I think he's like 25 years old.
Mm-hmm. He's still young.
Yeah, this offensive line this could be a very good strength or pretty good, for this team. And as you can see, you have Deontay Johnson right here, who's going to be coming open in the zone right there. Kenny Pickett and I think he said after the game that, if there was anything that he would take back, it was this play. He felt that he should have let this play develop a little bit longer. And
hey, I mean, that's just stuff you go and look back at.
Right. I think he thought it was a 5-man blitz. It ended up being a 4 because this guy dropped out and this guy went in.
Yeah.
But, check it out though. Even Dan
nonetheless,
Moore,
dude, that's still impressive though.
It is. And even Dan Moore, picking up, receiving the pass, so to speak. Sam Ollie is going to pass off the defender to Dan Moore. He sees it and he does his job. Right. Can't ask for anything more than that.
No, you can't. Opinion. Yeah, no, absolutely. The offensive line is definitely going to be better. Jennifer says that Spencer Anderson was taking snaps at center this week. Interesting. We know that he's a guy that can probably play really anywhere. So that's interesting. He might get some time in the second game at center at a certain point.
Yeah.
I think it's it would be great if somebody like him worked out, just being able to have that utility guy on the offensive line. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
The thing with Colin Cowherd is just, I don't know, dude. Like he's a Seahawks fan. He still swore the Steelers beat the Seahawks, or he still swore the Steelers beat the Seahawks Super Bowl 40. Well, that might be true, possibly. I've seen him like say some good things about the Steelers, but in the past, it's funny. You know what's funny too is like when you have certain analysts or sports talk guys who will talk about a sport that they're not really too well informed about. And so Colin Cowherd was talking one day about Shohei Ohtani on the Angels. And in baseball, you're not allowed to trade draft picks. You cannot trade your draft picks in baseball.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep. So Colin was talking about before the MLB trade deadline, and he hardly talks about baseball anyway, but they had a little segment about Shohei Ohtani and him getting traded. And Colin's like, yeah, I would trade him. I would just get draft picks and try to get people's first round picks. It doesn't work like that. So it's just funny to me that you have these guys who are in an upper status of sports talk, and they're getting paid to talk about things that are completely false like that.
I mean,
talking about trying to trade, like, then stay in your lane. Don't talk about baseball then. If you don't know the rules, if you don't know how the things go, then just stay talking about football that you talk about.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
I thought it was just embarrassing. I'd be embarrassed if that was me.
No, I agree with you, bro. If you don't know, then yeah, you definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Like, then just don't talk about it. So I don't know, dude. Like, there's even people on like ESPN's ass anyway, but you know, people like that, Stephen A. Smith talking about the Yankees when he doesn't even know he hasn't even watched a lick of baseball this year. It just drives me crazy sometimes, and people try to step in different territory that they aren't really quite informed about.
No, I agree with you, man. I don't think you should be. I'm sure there's better options of people that know the sport if they're.
Oh, absolutely. The fact that the guy talks about baseball twice a year during the trade deadline and during the World Series, that's all you got to know.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
Well, this is one of the worst plays, or one of the bad plays for Kendrick Green. But the first thing I want to point out is that, you know, this guy looks like, what's that kid's name from Alabama that's with the Panthers? The little kid, quarterback.
Bryce Young?
Yeah, he looks like Bryce Young amongst the other linemen here.
Oh.
I mean, he looks little, dude. Like, he looks tiny. He looks like he's wearing
small.
He looks like he's a kid wearing a costume, in my opinion.
Yeah, he looks pretty small.
He does not look like does he really look? Does he look like a 300-pound man to you?
No, I'd say somewhere in the high 200s.
I would say somewhere around there too. Probably about 280s.
Yeah,
and that's pushing it in my opinion. But another thing about this formation is you have Dotson at the right guard position, Herbig at left guard. You know, I think I liked Dotson at the right guard position more when he did play his rookie season. I like Nate Herbig as well. I think he did a fantastic job as well as a center. But let's watch this play and we'll critique Kendrick Green on this. So
yeah,
he got tackled with the quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, like, let me hold on. I think I went to the next play. All right, I went too far. All right, here it is. So he's gonna get bull rushed and tackled. Like, his hands are on the outside.
right.
His hands are outside of the defender. Like that, he's already out of position, and he's not moving his feet. He's just trying to just stand there.
Well, he doesn't really have long arms.
He doesn't. He's a T-Rex.
He's a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is, man. He doesn't have long arms. His arms are on outside of the defender. he doesn't have leverage. For a guy that's short, the other guy is underneath his pads. You see that?
Yeah.
So his positioning, his form, his hand placement, his standing up, like everything about this play just isn't good for him. And he's just driven backwards and tackled in between him and Mason Rudolph.
Right.
Like if you're Mason Rudolph, honest question, do you want Kendrick Green being your center in the next preseason game?
Definitely not.
Do you think it's a safety issue at this point?
It could be. It might be. We might not even see Kendrick Green out there in the second game.
I wouldn't put him out there, dude.
No,
I wouldn't. I mean,
give him a snap at fullback inside the one, see what happens. There you go.
Yeah, like I feel so bad for Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, did you see what he was saying?
Yeah, I did, and I feel bad because this is year 3 Kendrick Green. He had rookie Kendrick Green,
right?
So this is a better version of what he had, probably a significantly better version of what he had.
Yeah, it's crazy. You think Kendrick Green was his last center? That's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's going to be one or two things. It's going to be one, he ends up getting cut, which I honestly would not be surprised if that's the case. Or number two, he's going to just be stashed on the practice squad or something.
Yeah.
I don't see the way he's on the team. Brian says, I don't see how he can play fullback without fumbling because his arms. And I love that he puts the dinosaur emoji in there too. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Snaps were bad. He had some bad snaps. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Steelers fan cheering on Mason. Yeah. Well, he had a pass down the field that probably any quarterback should make. So
I don't know, man. He that's the one thing he's good at. Is that
dude, the only thing that he has going for him, he's got an arm. Other than that, there's nothing.
Well, it's just a deep ball. Like he struggles with intermediate and short passes.
Yeah,
and one of the things that
he doesn't move.
Well, I mean, he did get a first down on a 3rd and long on his
one play in 5 years.
Nah, there was the other one against the
2 plays in 5 years
against the Lions. He even knocked.
I was there. I was there that game. 2 plays in 5 years.
Did he look fast?
No. Dude, I regret going to that game. I already had the tickets before he even got called as a starter. I wish I didn't go. Weather was terrible. Game sucked.
Ended in a tie.
Oh, dude, it was terrible. It was probably the worst game I ever been to.
Dude, the image that's on the screen, you have the defensive player tackling Mason through Kendrick Green. It's just sad. Like, if I was that defensive player, I'd make that into a poster and put it as a fat head or something on my wall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mrs. J, I just support who the starting quarterback is. That's all. If Mason Rudolph was good, I would be supporting him. But he's not good. I don't boo him like some of the fans did. Wish him the best, but he's just not that good of a quarterback. That's just the reality.
Yeah, he had his moments and he had his opportunities, and it just didn't work out for him.
And this is the thing, dude. People will say that, oh, Mason only had 1 year. No, he didn't. Mason had 4 years. There was nothing that the team, dude. We are people who were never in the building. We're not at the practices. We're not at the training camps. We're not at the OTAs. We don't know what's going on outside of what we're seeing every Sunday and outside of what's being put out on the internet.
Right.
If they had any inclination that Mason Rudolph and they had any type of confidence that he would be their next quarterback after Big Ben, he would have already been that. He would have been that. They would have pushed for him to be that. He's a decent backup. That's about it. That's all you're going to get.
Would you put him ahead of Mitch Trubisky?
I would let them battle it out. Because Because I think Mason, I think that he's been very professional throughout his entire tenure here. I really do. And I respect him for that. I'm sure he might be a good dude. I'm sure he's a cool guy. But he's just not a starting quarterback in the league. He's not. And we all know this. He's not a starter in the NFL. That's just the reality. But if he can sit there and acknowledge that, yeah, he can make a career of himself as a number 2 quarterback, then yeah. You have an opportunity right now. You're listed as the 3rd quarterback, but you have an opportunity still to be able to maybe try to battle Mitch, where you can still make a career out of as a backup quarterback. Why not?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think he's better than Mitch. I really do. I'm not impressed by Mitch Trubisky. Last year I wasn't
a hater,
impressed.
then the entire organization and franchise is a hater. Then I don't know what to tell you. Because you're in the 0.8% of people, not even, that think he should be the starter for whatever reason. I hate to break it to you. We're on the same team. We're on the same team here. At least I hope. At least from what I know that you're a Steeler fan. But it's just the reality, and I'm sorry to break it to you. It's just a reality.
There's a reason why nobody picked him up.
That's it. That's it. Dude, he had 3 months where he was out there on the market. There's teams that needed backup quarterbacks. Teddy Bridgewater signed with the Lions 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's just how it is. It's just how it is with him. People, the way the NFL has changed offensively for quarterbacks, he doesn't really fit the mold much. He's got a strong arm, yeah, where he can get down the field, but you need to give more than just being able to throw a deep ball to a guy that burned his defender. You need to give more than that. And a lot of teams, Daniel, you made a good point. The fact that he's not picked up, a lot of teams recognize that about him. And I think in year 5 or year 6 now, whatever year this is probably Mason Rudolph.
That was about a 60-yard ball in the air.
Daniel threw his shoulder out in the pool.
Oh, I did throw it out.
Oh, man. Spilling the tea.
Hey, but I was throwing dimes up until that point.
That's hilarious.
But look at this. I mean, he's throwing it from the 25. He's on the inside.
It was a great throw. It was a fantastic throw.
In stride.
Yeah, no, it was a great throw.
Like I said, he's had his opportunities. I won't say he hasn't.
He has.
He is what he is. I think they should give him an opportunity to be that backup. Be that second guy.
Yeah. Hey, battle it out, man. They don't know Mitch anything.
I'm surprised he came back. I thought he was going to go and try to.
Yeah, I thought he would have said, "Hey guys, like I'm ready to kind of move on." Blah blah blah. I was surprised too, but it seems like that he's just being like just a really good team player, and him and Kenny have a good friendship too.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't know. I'm sure Mitch will probably still be the 2, just given what he's done in the league. But yeah, I don't know. It took Bradshaw a good 5 years. Yeah, but that was 40 years ago. Quarterback play wasn't really anywhere near what it was even in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but there are other players that took a little bit to develop and got better over time. Yeah, Tommy Maddox is a guy who, the start of his career, he was projected to be this guy. Wasn't he supposed to be the heir apparent to Denver? John Elway's, the next guy in Denver. Yeah. It didn't work out for him. He took some years off and
dude, I'm all for it. Like, I don't think somebody should just needs to perform just right away. Like, I'm not one of these Steeler fans. No, George, I hear you out, man. I hear you out. I'm not one of these Steeler fans that if a player that we know is overall a pretty good player, but has a down year, to just get rid of him. I'm not a fan like that. It's taken guys, people develop at different rates, 100%. But in terms of just really what the NFL is right now and everything, like the fact that Mason's been where he's been at the last 5 to 6 years, however long he's been on since 2018, however long that was. And ultimately it's the same guy. That's just what you're getting. At least with Terry, not that I grew up and watched him. least with Terry, at least the guy took jump to jump. At least the guy got better to the point where he could be the franchise quarterback and help lead the team to the 4 Super Bowls. With Mason, there's been nothing different over 5-6 years. There's nothing different.
All I know is that, I was too young to know anything about Terry, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I do know that he struggled very early in his career.
Yeah, he did.
He lost his job to a backup quarterback, and then, he got things turned around. But it was a different time, different era.
We're all the same team, fellas. We're all on the same team here.
Yeah, 100%.
We're all on the same side.
We got Daniel Roach, aka Big Blue, in the house.
Yeah. No, but I like even all you guys in the comment section. I love hearing your guys' thoughts about guys. We don't have to agree on every single thing. Love seeing your guys' thoughts. Keep in when you guys put it out there on stuff. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And so,
100%,
who were you? Was there anybody you were outside of Kinder Green? Was there anybody else that you were maybe disappointed in?
Let me think real quick. Anybody I was pretty disappointed in. That's what I say. Like, there weren't really too many big negative takeaways for me, man.
What about receivers not named? The top 4. Calvin Austin, Deontay, George Pickens.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too. Yeah, it didn't really seem like Hakeem Butler had a couple drops. He didn't really take advantage of his time on the field too much. We're still looking at they'll take 5 or 6 receivers depending. But yeah, outside the 4, nobody really put a mark down game 1. Doesn't seem like it, huh?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, because there's Boykin, there's Butler, there's who am I missing? There's Oshesky, Cody White. Yep, Cody White, who's been on the team for a few years now. Think there's somebody else too. I was surprised too that Calvin Austin wasn't back on returns, was he? I don't recall seeing him.
No, it was Bird. Bird was
it was that Bird guy, whoever that is.
Yeah, I was that was shocking to me that we didn't see a Calvin Austin return.
Yeah, maybe game 2, maybe next game we will. But other than that, like I wasn't surprised. Like some of the defensive guys didn't play. Not surprised by that. That's fine. They don't really need to play for the most part. Highsmith played a little bit, which I was actually kind of shocked he did, but that's fine. Love seeing Quan Alexander.
Dude,
I thought there was a little bit there at linebacker. We saw that was good. So, yeah, like overall, even some of the corners, like Duke Dawson got injured, who was going to be somebody to battle out for a corner spot. James Pierre was in there, not really too much.
James didn't look good.
Yeah, not too much there for him. What is this, year 3, year 4 for him now?
I think year 4 or 5.
Year 4, yeah. So he's just kind of been that 5th or 6th corner now. Yeah, Quan was fun. He was a lot of fun, and if he's somebody that can bring that type of intensity to their linebacker core, that's something they have not had for quite a while. So we'll definitely take that. Who are some other corners out there, man? I know. I think Sullivan out there for a little bit.
Sullivan was out there. He actually looked pretty good. Yeah, it was kind of confusing because he was wearing 34.
Levi Wallace was out there.
Yeah, he was wearing 34, Sullivan, and he looked a lot like Edmonds. And Quan Alexander looked too much like Le'Veon Bell. I was like, man, we should have tried Le'Veon Bell at middle linebacker.
Dude, wasn't Mark Barron number 26 when we had him?
Yeah, he was. And
he was terrible.
He wasn't that great.
He was bad. He was a high draft pick too.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be. That was right before we got Shazier. I mean, not Shazier, Bush.
Right.
And
18. No. What year was Barron on the freaking team? 18. We had Bostic and Vince Williams.
Yeah.
Was Barron on the 18 team, or was he 19?
No, I think it was the year that we drafted Devin Bush.
We drafted Bush in 19.
Yeah.
So was he 19 then?
I think so. I could be wrong, but I think so. And yeah, because we usually address the position that we're going to draft. The Steelers, you know what I mean? And so they addressed they got Mark Barron, and then they went out and drafted the middle linebacker. And now it's kind of like, that's interesting. But the 26 doesn't look good in the middle linebacker position for the Steelers. You know, if he makes the team, McFarland makes the team, who keeps the number?
If he makes, oh yeah, that's right. They're both 26. I feel like wouldn't McFarland keep it since he's been on the team for
I
3
would
years
think
now?
so. I would think so. I would hope so too. I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like the way it looks.
Dude,
It
give
looks
Cole
weird.
Alexander number 5 or something.
But the Steelers are.
Yeah,
They don't want to
I
give
know they're
the single
stingy
digit.
about that.
What they did with Melvin Ingram, they gave him 8.
Yeah, they gave him number 8. I don't understand that. Brian says Barron was washed up when the Steelers got him. Yeah, no, he was definitely toward the down part of his career. He was good for a little bit with Tampa and the Rams for a little bit of time, but yeah, he didn't last too much longer after we let him go. Yeah, no, Barron, like Alexander looks good in 26. But if you give him a single number, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I want to see a single digit number.
I wanted to see Porter in a single number.
Dude, that would have been.
We wanted to see Washington in 0.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Speaking of 0, apparently Devin Bush is wearing 0 in Seattle. And apparently he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, well, hey. Dude, what would you do if he had like a resurgence season for that?
Well, I think that might have to
how would you feel?
I think that'd have to do more with fit. I think I'd also be a little bit upset about it. You know, I think that the Steelers run a specific type of defense where the middle linebacker has to get physical with the interior offensive line.
Right.
And when you have Devin Bush, a guy that was more athletic and smaller, who tried to get around defenders instead of physical, it allowed for bigger holes. Right. And so I think that if he ends up doing well somewhere else, I think that it might be a situation to fit. And, you know, I don't know if it's going to be something that would last long. Like, if, for instance, if he did well this year, a part of me would think that it would be a little bit of like get back at the at Steelers fans, the Steelers
maybe a
as an
1 year
organization.
thing.
Yeah, like, you know, I can do this, and then once he's proven that he's a decent
gets a contract
player,
too. I could see that, dude. I could see him easily being
to
somebody who gets a bag and just completely just stops caring.
Yeah, exactly, and just goes back to what we've seen of him.
Just be an ass.
So, I don't think whatever, if he is successful, that it's going to be consistent. And, you know, I don't want the worst for him or anything. You know, I hope he does well in his career, in his life, and you know, except when they play the Steelers. I just, you know, it's just kind of like anybody else. You know, it's all right. Well, what went wrong there, though? If he ends up being like somebody that turns out to be good, was it the organization's inability to develop him? Was it the scheme? You know, what was it that made him successful elsewhere? But you know, I think a lot has to do with the scheme of the Pittsburgh Steelers, what they expect of the middle linebacker group, and he just wasn't willing to go up against guards one-on-one.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. I agree. And it was at a point you can't have it anymore. Yeah. And I think Bush was on to some good things before he got hurt, and it might have just been something too of sometimes guys just can't get back to what they were before their injury also. Mm-hmm. So that still could be a reality. But dude, I was somebody who I was a big advocate to draft him. I wanted him, and I even knew that they were going to try to take him, and they did. So sometimes you'll see people say that it's one of the worst picks and the Steelers never should have picked him and stuff like that. But during that time, though, like, you can't think like that because the Steelers needed a linebacker so bad. And him and Devin White were the highest regarded inside linebackers in that draft. Mm-hmm. And Devin Bush, when you look at his rookie season, was pretty darn good. Going into his second year before he got hurt, he was replicating what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then after he got injured, he really fell off. So who knows what could have been. But yeah, it was too bad because I was really sold on him being our next big thing at linebacker. I really was.
Yeah, I was a little bit less optimistic on him. You know, I thought his size was going to be an issue. You know, I felt that he was really undersized as a middle linebacker. You know, I thought that I could see what the Steelers were wanting to do. They wanted more of a hybrid type of, you know, athletic inside linebacker, you know, to replace Ryan Shazier, who was that all-around, you know, freak of nature freak of athlete,
Mm-hmm.
in Shazier, and they didn't, it just came up short, no pun intended. But I thought that Devin White was the better option of the two going into the draft that year. And I think obviously he's had the better career. And so, but Devin White, he was bigger, he was fast, he was strong, but he had the size to back it up too. And Devin Bush didn't. And so I just, I was high on, I was okay with it. I was okay with the move. I wasn't hating it. I wasn't saying no, not Devin White like I've done with other players, or Devin Bush. I'm sorry. Like I'll be honest.
Right.
A couple of years ago, the Steelers are up at number 20, and I'm like, oh come on, not Kenny Pickett. And so, I've been there where I'm like, I don't want a specific player. And in that situation, it seems to have gone well for us up to this point. With Devin Bush, I was not doing that. I was just like, Steelers moved up. I was like, oh snag, they're gonna go for Devin Bush. It's like, all right, let's go. I wasn't either way with it. Yeah. But once he had the injury, came back, he just wasn't the same. You're absolutely right. But good for him going out there in Seattle. It's just preseason. We'll see what he does in the regular season. We'll see him this year. The Steelers travel to Seattle and play the Seahawks. I'm excited for that game. I'm excited to see that game. I think it's on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, one of those two.
That'll probably be a pretty big game too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It might be a game that might be a must win.
Now we're going to be calling this one a show here pretty soon, but we're going to be coming back on your channel in hindsight. I think we're aiming for Friday to preview the upcoming game the exhibition game against the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
That is going to be coming out on Saturday. All right, guys, if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button. But on Saturday, I'm going to be doing another play-by-play calling of the game. If you want to watch the game and just kind of listen to a Steelers fan perspective, check it out. I know last week they had during the Tampa Bay game, they were watching the game and the commentary was of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it kind of made it hard to watch. And so a lot of people put it on mute.
You had to watch it with the Bucs commentary?
Yeah, it was with the Bucs commentary.
Oh, that blows.
Yeah. Well, I was calling the game.
What did you watch it on?
NFL Plus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since I'm out of market or out of area,
right,
I had to watch it on NFL Plus. So
Afton said she will be at the game right behind the bench, so she is going to the Steelers preseason game.
Nice.
There you go.
That's awesome.
There you go.
I hope you have a great time. I hope you have fun out there. I'm going to be going to the Browns game, so I'll be up there a couple weeks now. About a month from now is when the game is.
Monday night game. Nice. Try not to get in a fight.
I won't. I'm usually good about that.
Yeah. That'll be a good game to go to. That'll be fun. I've thought about that one.
It's a night game, and it's not going to be cold, and it's not going to be hot. So I think that's why.
No, it's definitely a good time to go, man. Definitely a good time. What are you guys staying at? A normal hotel that you do?
Yeah, I think we are staying at a hotel. It's going to be me and my father. We're going to head on that.
Oh, you and your dad. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to take my dad out. We're going to go out to the game. I was trying to talk the wife into going, but the new baby and stuff, it'd be difficult. And then I'm also going to the Houston Texans game. I was going to go to the Vegas game, but it just my wife's aunt is a season ticket holder for the Vegas Raiders, and so I was going to get the tickets fairly low, but everything else was just outrageous. Like the hotel out there plus the plane tickets and the whole 9 yards. I was just I'll just go to Pittsburgh, watch the team in Pittsburgh, because I have that flyer card mile thing literally, and I'm season ticket holder, and I've already sold most of my games. I literally paid to go and watch the Steelers game like $80, dude. And so
pretty nice.
Yeah. So we don't. It was either pay $80 go watch the Steelers play in Pittsburgh, or play like $2,000 to go watch them in Vegas. I took the $80 route.
Yeah. Well,
but
Hey, man. I mean, nonetheless, that'll be a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, 100%. And then I think I'm still trying to talk the wife into it, but the Cincinnati game and December 23rd, the last home game. I think I might end up going to that game as well.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Heck yeah,
we'll
man.
see.
So you're looking at probably 2 to 3 this year.
Yeah. Well, my brother came in clutch. He actually bought me the tickets to the Houston Texans game, and he's taking me out there. It's not that far from where we live. It's about a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
There'll probably be a good amount of Steelers fans that game.
Oh, dude, there is. I've been to the Houston Texans game, I think, every year except that one year that the Steelers lost, like in a fluke game where they like got all these turnovers and interceptions and stuff. But I think that the Texans only had like 43 yards, but somehow won the game.
Wow.
And that's the only game I haven't seen. All the other games in Houston, going back several years, I think back to 2005, I've went to each one of them.
Wow. Yeah.
And
no,
so,
it's pretty sweet, man.
Yeah, every time that I've gone to Houston, it's been Steelers of the South, man.
I bet.
Like,
dude, it's freaking nuts, man. It'll pretty much be a home game.
Yeah, it pretty much is. You know, the last game that I went to in Houston was the one where Vince Williams laid down with
yeah.
Dude,
isn't that hilarious when you look back at it?
Yeah, it was, dude. I was actually in that end zone where he did that. That wasn't too far away from me.
Yeah.
And I saw that on the where he went down. I couldn't actually see him do it because there was, the camera people and all these players around. But I saw it on the jumbo screen. They actually put it up there a couple of times. And I pointed it out to my dad. I was like, hey, look, he laid down with him. And so
that's freaking amazing, dude.
Yeah,
dude, Vince Williams is freaking savage.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss him, man. He's somebody that everybody should want on their football team.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dude, he's a physical beast. He's a football player. He's got his head and heart in the right place for football. Yeah, he's what you want. George goes, was it the David Carr game? I went to that one in 2005. And the cool thing about going to that game in 2005 was I got to see like Troy. I got to see Jerome Bettis. Ben Roethlisberger was, in his second year. But this was also the year that the Steelers would end up going and winning the Super Bowl. And so I get to say that I got to see the team that won the Super Bowl live that year and really beat the crap out of the Houston Texans. Like it was a game. And as far as fights go, I didn't get in one, but my mom almost did. And she's feisty, y'all.
That's freaking incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is what it is. But yeah, we'll come back on Friday. We'll be on your channel. His channel is in the description. If you guys haven't gone over there and subscribed to In Hindsight, make sure you do. We're back on Friday. We're going to be previewing the next preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. Do you have any final words, Nathan?
Not too much, guys. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Mr. Malvo says, I know he likes to be controversial sometimes in here. Just started watching, already don't like the hot takes. Kenny wasn't unexpected and do anything he didn't do last preseason, so that proves nothing. Playing against second, third stringers, can't take it seriously at all. Sorry, not sorry. As far as KG goes, not playing opposition, he isn't long enough. Mr. Malvo, at the end of the day, we don't really care what you have to say. At the end of the day, if you're gonna come on, and be a freaking loser and be a freaking dickhead to everybody in the chat or to anybody here, then just leave. I don't understand you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares your opinion. Nobody wants Mitchell Trubisky starting. The first team offense did what you want them to do the first game. I don't know what else you want. So you like to come in the comment section and everything like that and be a prick. So just get out. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Good riddance. Benched.
And with that,
unsubscribe from the channel.
And with that, we are the unofficial.
Nobody
Steelers
cares.
podcast.
You can talk your talk all you want. At the end of the day, you're irrelevant as everybody else.
Hey, I'm pretty relevant, man. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, well, nobody knows who this guy is, so freak out the chat.
See y'all next time, y'all.
Welcome to the unofficial Steelers podcast, the podcast so unofficial it doesn't have a home. Here's your host from In Hindsight, Nathan Heintz. From Steelers Nation Australia, Mark Davison. And from State of the Steelers, Daniel J.